I just wanted to ask you, you're talking about fear, you know, what people's worst fear? Is it that they could take your money? Because that happened to me, as you know, and it's happened to a few other people. So is that the fear that you're talking about?
Fear of, I don't know, because I have to be honest, I don't, certainly this last year, I have dropped all fears. So prior to that, I would probably just be scared that, yeah, maybe they would take my house, maybe they would take my car, maybe they would take me. Do you know, maybe they would go for my kids, maybe, who knows, fear's all around us. And yeah, you know, there is that fear if we have already contracted with the council, which I have. I've paid council tax up until, you know, I was an honest, law-abiding, legal-abiding citizen, not a law one. So yeah, there is just that fear of perhaps, you know, if you're younger, you don't, you know, you've not got a mortgage, so you don't want to go into debt, and then you've got a bad credit file and all, you know, and then you're not, so you apply for a credit card and you're not getting it because you've not paid your council. Council tax, by the way, does not go on your credit file. It doesn't go on your credit file. I have only got one default on my credit file now. I've just quite recently looked at that because, to be honest, I'm not really interested. I don't need any credit or whatever, but I've only got one, and it was for that MasterCard that it was a clear cut. So, but I've still got a decent credit score actually. Council tax not on it at all, doesn't go on it. All right, so that's why it's probably one of the easier ones for you to start, because it's not going to affect your credit ratings if you're still sitting there saying, oh, I need to get a mortgage, or maybe need to get a new car and get finance or whatever. You don't want really that to be affected. But if you're in a, you know, in a fortunate position where you don't need to borrow money for the banks or whatever, then aye. So fear's all around us, Pauline, and I totally get, you know, we've had examples, and like I say, just a bit didn't do the talk because something was threw up this week. One of the girls that is in, so we've got a group, a WhatsApp group, and one of the girls has already got Edinburgh Council and Scott & Co on notice. Now, Edinburgh Council wrote to her bank and took money out. They just took it out anyway. She's cancelled direct debit, she's got them both on notice. I think she's about, I want to say maybe 6 months. And that was for the reason I had said, oh my God, what the hell, what's happening? And that's why I said I was telling you my personal story, because this is my story and I have not, and I would, you know, be honest and tell you. But she's now closed that account down, all right, because she obviously had given that account as when she was paying council tax, so they've just went straight for the jugular and just went in.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think it's great, everything that you've done and everything that you've said, but the problem is, like, if we all went down that road, how would we replace, you know, we still need facilities, we still need roads, we still need...
Is that, whose problem's that though?
Yeah, exactly, but, you know, we need to have ideas for replacement rather than just say, well, we're not doing it, I don't know. I mean, how do we replace this system? It's a horrible system, it's fraudulent, they waste the money.
I agree.
There's no doubt about it, I totally agree with
you.
But, you know, we need answers to these things. And
like, seriously, because I don't have the answer. Like,
well,
it's not something that I even give it a thought to. You know, if I need my bins emptied, I can go and empty my own bin.
Yeah, but most people won't.
But that's not my problem. And I'm only here to tell you my journey, and I can't tell you what they're bigger.
I'm not doubting that, but it'd be great if we could come up with
I understand what you're saying, and you know, there is people that are not able to do these things and are less fortunate or whatever. So,
I mean, I certainly don't want to pay council tax to people that I don't know and that I don't know what they're doing with the money.
Yeah.
I mean, I would rather pay it on a street-to-street basis where we could all meet together and say, right, okay, what are we doing with this money?
Yeah.
You know, in a small area where there's only a certain amount, you know, and then we say, well, we'll meet up with the next street and we'll, at the junction, we're going to, you know, such and such.
Yeah.
But to just say,
that everybody pays
yeah.
a set amount for the size, like the gentleman was saying, for the size of the house, and just assume because you're in a decent sized house that you can afford to pay that.
Yeah,
like, that's just
I
an
mean,
assumption.
the system's crap.
Do you know, it is, it's absolute nonsense.
We don't have any ideas yet for a replacement.
No.
And until we have ideas for a replacement, we're not going to get anywhere.
Well, I've got somewhere, because I'm not paying it,
Yeah,
so I've got money in my
you
pocket.
personally have, but you know, if everybody was to do that, everything would collapse, and people would not
Happy
wouldn't be
days.
happy at that
Happy
either.
days.
That is exactly what has to happen.
Yeah,
I
that is what has to
agree with
happen.
Right until it happens, we are not really going to create a new system.
Yeah.
So that is exactly what it has to happen.
Yeah.
In my opinion, is like, how are we going to build a new system if we are still
Still in the old one.
in the old one?
And then
So-
who's going to decide the new system?
Then we will find a way. Then we will find a way.
Absolutely.
We have done this for generations.
Decide the new system.
We are just good people, and we will find a way.
Absolutely.
Why? Because the common law has something that is very clear. It's like, you're not really going to buy something on your credit card. We are not bad people. We are good people.
Yeah.
Good mind,
And
good
what-
heart, and we are going to put it to play.
Yeah.
We are
Yeah.
going to get together and we are going to create a new system. We are going to create our own education. We are going to create a system that is really defending our rights.
Mm-hmm.
We are not really going to pay for the police. What is the police doing for us, really? Somebody robs something to you and they don't really bother because they say, we can't really do anything.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Nothing that I
Yeah.
disagree with.
No.
Yeah. And
But-
that's the argument is that,
But
you know,
that is exactly what I think is
Yeah.
going to happen. That people are in fear, like, this is the only system that we know.
Yeah.
Why? Because we all are just,
programmed.
not only that, it's like we just have one generation to look for. It's like our parents have been paying for the tax, so we all have to follow that
Yeah.
path.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. We do. Absolutely.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that is the program that we have
Absolutely.
to drop.
Yeah.
Okay, so the young generation are not really thinking about paying anything like that. It's like my son, who is 22, he said, my goodness, why do I have to pay for this? And the council is asking me who lived in this property before me. So they want me to police other people. I got a letter from the council today, and they said, we know that you have moved to this address. And I said, who are you that you are asking me where I live?
Yeah. That's it.
What do you think that you are? Do you have the power to asking me? Just come to my house and say, look, this is my name, blah, blah, blah. And then we could just get an agreement.
Yeah.
The £5 that Tracy was saying is like, happy to pay for £5. I'm happy to pay for 100, but tell me that you're doing your job.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are doing your job, I will pay 100.
I will say though, the £5, so once we've got these guys on notice, okay, after your first notice, 28 days, we then serve them with a second notice, 14 days is the third. You stop paying that £5, obviously. You're remaining in honour by paying it. And then obviously you want them to answer all these questions that you've got for them, which if they want to be in a contract with us, we have to be in agreement, right, for a contract to work. They're not going to answer them because they can't answer them because they're corrupt and it's fraud and it's slavery and all the jazz that I've read out. Right, so they're not going to come into a contract with you. They're going to try and still maybe bug you. They've not bugged me, but I think Edinburgh Council might be slightly different. They seem to be, I think they've kind of, they're taking a little bit more of a drastic action, but we'll still win in the end because they will run out of fighting steam. And actually, Laura's doing a fantastic. Me and her have been digging away this last couple of days. Yep. So it's a never end. You know, there will be an end. You know, there will be an end to this. Well, I don't have the answer to where it goes thereafter, the council tax or poll tax. God, we know there was riots. Where's the riots now? God, there's none. We've all become a bit complacent and a bit too nah. Let's not do that. Let's, but
I just want to wait until the whole system just disappears, and then I'm going to build a new one.
yeah. Yeah.
And I'm
That's it.
doing
We're
that.
not in any hurry.
I'm working in a bakery, and my only aim for working in the bakery is just to work with the mental health of just normal people.
Yeah.
Because the mental health is just going down the drain, as everybody knows.
And because
And
we're
the young
worried,
people
because
as well
of fear.
is exactly the same thing. Young
Because of
people
fear.
are just losing their marbles. They don't really know. They don't really know what's going on with their lives.
They've lost their way. A lot of people have
It
lost
is just a program, but it's just a program. It's just a program. Honestly, it's like the old mobiles. We have to just bin them because they will not really use the new program. We are like that. Believe me, I have done it with my own mind. You have to just delete all the information that you have, leave a space in your mind, and something new will come. The cloud is just full of all the information that has to come to us. If we don't make a space with the new information that has to come to us, we are going to be in the same situation forever. Mm-hmm. It's just, these people have no heart. They have no heart. They are not even human beings.
That's a whole different ballgame on to that. Right, come on now. We've not got time for the lizard chat. This is one of our guys.
Yeah, let me just add something that I think is maybe relevant. Recently, I learned about one of the early Disney movies. So there were I think it's called Disney on the Battlefronts. Which probably, I guess, in America is the same situation as UK in terms of common law.
Right.
Apparently, according to that story, we find out, and in that this is Disney from the 30s and from 40s basically. Sorry, 1940s. So in America, apparently, there was a big problem with paying taxes. Mm-hmm. And they come up with this Disney movies, and it's called. Pay taxes to beat the Axis.
Right, yeah.
Axis being obviously the Axis powers, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about Italy, Germany, and Japan.
Right.
Right. So then obviously with a series of this basically propaganda movies, right? With the common characters that we all know from Disney.
Yeah.
We learn how important it is to pay taxes. Yeah. So,
and have you seen? Are these available to?
Yeah. They just put Axis to beat. Pay taxes to beat the Axis, or Disney on Battlefronts, I think it's called.
Okay.
Yeah. That's one thing. Another thing, just coming back to this mental illness, which comes back to something called Jaffe memo. Not sure if you're familiar with that one. You are, yeah. Yeah. So Jaffe memo is actually on Wikipedia under Bernard Berelson. So there's one of two guys over there, right? There's a Jaffe guy and there was a Bernard Berelson. So if you just go on Wikipedia, Bernard Berelson, there's a Jaffe memo, and it leads exactly to Jaffe memo with all the list of things that are important for the Population Council, I think it's called, and Planned Parenthood. To reduce the fertility rate in the United States, and one of them is actually listed as create chronic depression.
Yeah. Sad.
Thanks, Tracy. I think you said at some point that energy is free.
Yes.
Yeah. I wonder if you could say a bit more about that, because my
naive
view of this. Well, my maybe naive view of this is it is a product or a commodity that costs money for power stations to produce, and the energy distributors then have to pay for that. And pass the cost on to their customers. So where's the
cost?
In what sense do you get something for nothing? As a consumer.
Yeah, so 1926, I believe there was an agreement between the government and the National Grid. Now I've not wrote down all the sort of ins and outs of it because I wasn't talking about the gas. I was going for Mrs. Monica the day. But yeah, and there was an agreement that the energy would be free to the people, to the living men and women. And I haven't, it is probably in one of these. I have read legislation, I have read and watched a lot of videos of mainstream videos about the energy side of it. You, like I say, your boxes that are in your houses, you're paying, so your standing charge, whatever it may be, you know, X amount, is for the upkeep of that box that's in your house. So your gas box, your electricity box, that is what your standing charge pays for. I've listened to people, you get people phoning up and speaking to the National Grid, they'll speak to energy companies, and they, this is the information that they are giving. And I've watched so many of those videos. I know so many people that have gone down this route. I was with Eon before I stopped paying, and I've had nothing. I get the odd email, which I block. You can block email addresses. I've had a text, which you can block. I've had a couple of letters. I'm returning them to sender because they're not addressing me as Tracy of the Mearns family. They're still writing to me in the legalese. So we're getting them under common law as well. I have got my energy notices on file. I've not got them I've not printed them off. But again, it goes into the legislation. So like say your smart meters, for instance. I had a smart meter in my house, all right? There's EDF, all these mad, whatever else comes off them, right? That in itself is harmful. I didn't ask for a smart meter in my house. I just had to take what was already there, right? So I've taken it upon myself. They won't come and remove that, by the way, or they'll come and put a prepay or something in, and which you absolutely do not want. If you've got a prepay meter, you cannot put these guys on notice, all right, because they've got you by the short and curlies. If you've got a prepay, you would need to change. You can do it for smart meters and you can do it for non-smart meters. And again, with the notices are relevant to what we're, getting them under, what frauds and what act that they're actually breaking the legislation. I know it's a tricky one. It took me a while to get my head round. Energy's free. It is. Do you know? It is. It comes.
Tenant, then have you got to change your meter as well and buy your own?
No. You don't have to. Mm-hmm. I think when I first sort of done a lot of research on it, this was a lot of it was down in England, though, so it is slightly different. Some people were under the belief that if you had a smart meter, they were able to operate it at their end, so they would be able to switch it off. Right? Now, I don't know whether that's true or not. I wasn't hanging about to find out. Right? Well, exactly. I've had so much conflicting stuff. Some say, no, you don't need to change them, they're not going to turn it off. Especially if you've got... So there's a big vulnerable category now. That's been in the mainstream media quite recently about, them... if you're, disabled or children under 16 or whatever it is, that they can't cut you off anyway. It's under the Vulnerability Act. They can't cut you off. All right, you could play on, so you could go to the doctors and say, by the way, I'm suffering from severe depression. They can't cut you off, right? And that's under the Vulnerability Act as well. So it's another thing that kind of saves you. But for my own safety, my own peace of mind, I got my meters changed because I did have a smart meter. Although it wasn't registering to them because I used to still have to send them my meter readings. I'm still getting my gas and electricity. Do you know? So it's about dropping the fear. I did have a woman actually chat my door from Eon. She was like, oh, hi, I was like, oh, hello, hi, Tracy. Are you Tracy Mearns? I went, no. She's like, all right. This is, I'm Lisa from Eon. I went, oh, great. How you doing? Aye. Do you live here? No. All right. Is that your gas box there? I'm like, nah. And away she went. Like, I mean, do you know, why are we fearing these people?
Sorry. You were saying that this is all under civil law, right? But I know that there's this energy bill that's been into Parliament this week, which would criminalise certain things to do with energy. So is that? I mean, that would actually make me fearful, I have to say.
Right. I don't read mainstream media papers.
No, this was via one of the Telegram.
I got a brief glimpse of something somewhere about the energy companies doing something. I have no clue what it is.
Well, it's to do with green. Sorry.
In Parliament this week, so this is in. This is in England. In UK Parliament. In Scotland, we're devolved, so it's not in Scotland just yet. But when they came back after their summer holidays, the first thing they talked about was the energy bill. And as part of the energy bill, obviously with this drive towards net zero, etc., all being accelerated, the energy bill has got certain provisions in it that your property has to comply with X, Y, and Z, and if it doesn't,
so is it to do with like your insulation and all
well,
that?
It could be smart meters, but more than that. And then if your house doesn't comply, it could be a criminal offence. So
I'm not being funny. I'm not being funny. Who are we hurting here? Is there a victim?
No, but this is what they're planning to
criminalise. But this is the corruption of the government. This is what I'm saying to you. This is the corruption.
But they're ramping up the fear, though.
Yeah, they're ramping up the fear, but you need to drop it. No, exactly. There is no victim. And this is...
offence, £1,000 fine.
It's a lot of baloney.
But it's just bullshit. It's just all fear.
Absolute baloney.
It's just fear.
The way to get... I mean, common law is pretty simple. There's loads of branches and ins and outs of it all, but the basics is we're not hurting anybody, right? If there is no victim, there is no crime. There has to be a victim.
The ultimate level of non-compliance is to become fearless.
Yes.
And that's what it is.
Yeah,
because
100%,
fear and emotion,
100%.
and any emotion, when you get emotional, you can't see things straight.
You can't,
Because I'm going to be doing talking on this, but when you go into a state of fear or anything, you basically go into a trance. You go into a trance.
Aye.
And your ability to see reality is modified and changed. And that's it. The question I was going to ask, though, that wasn't the question, but the question I was going to ask is, it's great talking about all this stuff, but has it ever been tested by going to court? Or do people just stop at that point and never ever goes into a court case?
That it has, and that has set precedents because they have won. So there is
2018.
Yeah. So and there's a couple of other ones that people they have ended up in the court. I mean, it's a massive. There's lots of information out there, guys. Loads. You go into one group and then you get geez, another group of so. It's massive, right? It's a huge big. There's so many people doing it. I'm not just talking about these notices in particular, but there's so many people getting educated.
I'll tell you what happened to me with the council tax, right? What happened was I was looking after my mother who had dementia, and what happened was she eventually had to go into a care home, and because she was mentally impaired, they actually had to pay her back all the council tax that she had been charged with, right? But I was living with her and I was her carer for most of these years. So they came after me and they said I owed them £6,000, right? And at that time, my mental health because of looking after my mum for years, my mental health was absolutely shot, right? And so just before the lockdowns, my mum went into care. 5 days later, the lockdowns happened, so I couldn't get in to see her. And then I went into isolation, right? And so leading up to that, what they would do is they started just after my mum went into care home. I woke up in the morning, I heard bang, 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 bang coming the door. They sent a bill for every year, separately, deliberately, to come through like a waterfall to frighten me. Now, at that time, I had about 20, 30 grand savings, so I could pay it, right? But I wasn't going to pay it, but it did scare the crap out of me. Of course, I was playing the mental card thing, and they did it again, and they did it again, and then I started to notice something, right? The guy who was really intimidating his voice, he started to sound sheepish, because I wasn't actually responding to it. Mm-hmm. And so then what happened was, he says, well, I'll tell you what, we'll give you 3 months. Right, so I thought, oh fuck, that's awfully good of these guys. They gave me 3 months. So 3 months would go by, and bang, 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 bang. All of a sudden, one day, the guy, I'd speak to the guy. Well, we don't actually want to take to your court, so we'll give you another 3 months. right?
So was this sheriff officers banging on the
No,
door?
this is the council. No, when I say bang,
Oh, is
bang,
it?
bang, what they do is, to get the most dramatic
letters.
effect,
Right.
they said I owed them 6 years council tax, right? So
Right.
it was 6 envelopes all coming through the door at once.
Right, got you.
So it was
got
really
you.
dramatic. So when you're
Right, so
lying
you
in
weren't,
bed...
you weren't physically getting
No,
somebody
no,
chatting
but
at
the
your
letters
door,
were
right?
going bang,
The
bang,
letters.
bang, bang,
Yes,
bang. It was like a
yes.
big waterfall of letters. That was the whole
Right,
idea behind
okay.
it, right?
Yeah.
So then...
And those are terrifying.
Well, I
if you
was-
would open them and read them, the negative energy that they give you guys is just...
So on top of
just-
everything else I was dealing with, it was,
Yes.
I mean, they could have pushed me over the edge.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you know what I
That's
mean? They could have pushed me over the edge.
said way at the beginning,
And so
yeah.
then what happened was, right, I eventually just thought, oh, fuck, they'll give me another 3 months. And I phoned up, and he says, okay, we'll switch them off. And now they phone me up every 6 months and say to me, has anything changed? No. Okay, and they put the phone down, and that's it.
So you've still not paid your 6?
No, I'm not paid any of it, no. So, but I didn't know about all this stuff. But I'm expecting them to sort of get in touch with me soon. But this time I
Yes.
want to do it with a notice and just
You can
really
do the
hammer them.
notice and just stop them in their tracks. Stop them in their tracks. And it is, you know, it is far better to stop the council in their tracks, like I say, and before they go to all this sheriff shit, because it does become more complicated. You're then dealing with them and them. So, aye. So it's like, yeah, absolutely.